Welcome to a brand new wave, drowning out the noise that's tame. Liberty whispers through the brave, breaking free from every chain. Nullify the rules they crave, crypto beats that pave the way. Anarchy with minds that safe, algorithms new dawn of day. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. Beyond control we take a stand, casting off the iron brand. Freedom flowing through our hands, revolution's our command. Decentralize the way we plan, all together we expand. Breaking shackles for the clan, in this journey we're unpanned. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride.
Hey guys, let's learn about blockchain and about freedom.
First off, man, what is freedom anyways? Like, are we really going to talk about freedom? Because I don't know how you even talk about freedom without purpose. What is the telos of blockchain? What is the telos of humanity? You get what I'm saying? So what is the telos of our humanity with blockchain?
I mean, I think an important thing is the right to fork, the right to leave, the right to start over. You know, just completely ghost and create something from scratch. I think that's a good way to maybe look into it.
We got some haters up in this motherfucker already, dude.
Yeah, I see.
You got anything to say there, Andrew, to the haters?
Hate watches. Make sure you send it to other people to hate watch as well.
Exactly. Bring on the hate. Bring on the hate, right? Because honestly, we live in a world full of hate. And I think that's the premise of what we want to talk about today. What can blockchain provide? How can you be financially free? How can you find your purpose? And I think when it all comes down to it, when people think that they're lost in what their purpose, what they think their purpose is, or what their purpose isn't, that's when the hate ends up arising. And I think we live in a world full of hate. We live in a world full of conflict because people haven't discovered their purpose or acknowledged what it is to live. Like, what is the meaning of this journey that we call life, right? So what is the purpose of blockchain? What is the actually, I'm going to let you define it, Andrew. What is the purpose of a human being?
Well, her purpose as a human being is multifaceted. It really depends on each person, uh, how they're wired, right? But I think the purpose of blockchain is to provide an equilibrium, a medium of exchange and communication that's neutral in all of those different people. There's no winners, there's no losers, there's just the facts. And sometimes the facts are transparent, sometimes the facts are obfuscated. So each person is going to want to make a decision about which way they want to go with that.
So what you're saying is as a human person, being the rational agents that we are, right, to have an intent in what we choose to do, how we choose to live, how we choose to articulate the actions of our life, whether it's in cooperation or in competition or being adversarial, etc., to choose between vice and virtue. The blockchain can effectively add that non-deterministic, rational agency that a human being has with a system that is deterministic within its execution. So, and I got notes, everybody, so I'm reading off my notes. So, see, my notes. So, and through the blockchain, it gives you reasonable consensus, and it gives you an input-output scenario. Does that make sense?
Total neutrality. That's a dangerous thing to a lot of people.
So the blockchain is in itself the neutral for the human who stands outside of neutral. Do we choose between our will, vice, virtue, good, evil, however we want to, or not necessarily? Let's not use evil, right? Self or selfless. How are we going to live our life? Are we going to articulate it to just the selfish manner? It's all for ourselves, or are we going to define beyond ourselves for a community standard? Because we're a collection of individuals. We want
a chessboard.
Yeah,
you have people who are the chessboard. People who feel like they leave a very virtuous, rigid morality in life, and then the people who are more flexible with their morality, and there's got to be a neutrality between those two in order to keep the peace, because there's always going to be a difference in action.
That's how we find the silver linings, right?
Yeah.
To look at all the negative. It's like finding a piece of hay within a needle stack, realistically. But think of a haystack looking for the needle, right? Searching all that negative to find that inkling of truth, that positive or that truth for how we should live and articulate and understand our lives.
Yeah.
Rather than be like these four knuckleheads that decided to jump in and hate watch and yell, "Shut up." It's like, you can say that, but I don't have to listen to you. Just like I can say, "Thank you for listening. You're here." What do we say, Andrew?
Keep on watching, baby.
Keep on watching. Keep on watching. So you can watch, you can like, you can subscribe,
you can listen,
or you can watch and listen and act like assholes and say every name in the book, man. We're all about free speech here. And that's what's so beautiful about the blockchain, because if you're talking about free speech, what better yet than to articulate that expression, but through systems such as blockchain technology, such as the innovation of decentralized autonomous organizations such as smart contracts, what better yet to actually have a living presence of what free speech is all about than the blockchain and its utility?
Yeah, and it's a protocol, not a platform, and there's a totally different world of difference between a protocol and a platform. A platform could be censored just like that, and the protocol, it really is baked into it. And if people realize that the protocol is corrupt in that way, they'll just stop using it. Something else will come along.
Well, there's something called subsidiarity, and I think that's where blockchain can be utilized the best at in any way, shape, or form with how you want to use the protocol. You can use it you can use it for any form of utility, whether it's as like say a codex of memory, like like a tech coded encyclopedia. Sorry, I'm hearing like noises in one of my headphones. I don't know what's going on. But you can also use it as like say a banking or financial initiative. So what is the name of the game that we like to say here, Andrew, when we're referring to blockchain?
I mean, it's your right. You can't have a grandfather. And
It's your
blockchain as a mechanism for concentrating your rights so that they can't be grandfathered.
an ability to coordinate on a more decentralized means to take in custody for yourself of your own utility, of your own value. And as you always articulate from Ludwig von Mises, value is subjective, right? Ludwig von Mises and Karl Menger, value is of a subjective nature when it comes to human action. We make the value every time that we produce, every time that we interact, every time that we act and maintain and orchestrate. That's how value comes about when it comes to the economy, right? And I got a question actually for you.
Sure.
So let's get to Thomas Aquinas though, because he talks very eloquently on this concept of the common good. So how does the common good, say Austrian economics, the blockchain, and subsidiarity both all formulate together in a cohesive balance? So Aquinas emphasizes that the common good as ordered harmony, not mere absence of central authority. So there's some form of authority, right? Some form of authority. Blockchain might enable parallel structures or a parallel polis, but does it foster genuine solidarity or risk fragmentation into echo chambers? So in other words, would blockchain be cohesive enough to balance between a civil authority per se within a community, but while simultaneously running parallel in gravitating towards a decentralized custom to where the central authority is out in its own field, but doesn't absorb so much to where it becomes like a fixated factor to where it enslaves, I guess is what I'm asking. So or would blockchain just crash? Does it just crash right into central authority, ram it down the road, and then create all these different factions that are inevitable to lead to yet another consolidated central authority? because you have so
Well,
many different echo chambers fighting.
you can kind of see what happened with the Iran war, right? Is that they had a chain of command, an ordered mechanism for communication and backup plans. But at some point, when shit hits the fan, you're going to have mutinies, and you're going to have different points of view as to what, and it's going to be hard to keep everybody in line because of everything that's going on. So when we have attempts to take over development teams within a blockchain, like the stuff about Bitcoin Core being taken over after their financials situation for the development team fell apart. Yeah, you're gonna have people that are toting the line and following orders for a while, but that because of the way that it's designed, there's going to be alternative implementations of the software, the node, and people will take that implementation and fork it again, and other development teams will come in and bring about their own interpretation of what the best mechanism is for an effective blockchain. And you saw that with Bitcoin Cash ABC. It was kind of a three-ring circus for a while because they were constantly hard forking, and the businesses behind Bitcoin ABC before it forked again to Cash Node, they were not happy, and they knew it was being destructive to the way that the long-term health of the Bitcoin Cash ABC blockchain was becoming. And so another team stepped up and said that they would take the mantle, and as a result of that, the ecosystem for Bitcoin Cash node, now is what it's called, has been productive and healthy, and has been growing and thriving a little bit at a time.
And it maintains its value. If you want to look at it as on a fiat level, it does hold on to the value. Where yes, Bitcoin has grown exuberantly in its value, but you got to look at the way the dollar is taking hold. Right, it's on the verge of collapse. But Bitcoin, when it hits a margin, when the bubble breaks and it has to kind of correct, it's going to come smashing down a little longer and a little faster and a little larger than that of, say, the node of Bitcoin Cash, whereas Bitcoin Cash holds on to where it's at within its standard because it is more solid, because it's holding on to that utility factor, that peer-to-peer identity that Bitcoin is supposed to be and what its protocol originally calls for. Am I not? I mean, unless I can be corrected.
No, you're not to be corrected, but just something to think about is the fact that Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core are in two different, strategies. Bitcoin Core barely ever updates anything. It's more a reflection of inflation, and that's why the price of Bitcoin Core has gone up, is because people are betting against inflation. Bitcoin Cash, they stepped out of the spotlight, sure, but they're actually doing something that's been productive now, and it's competing against something that's sitting still, and so that's why they're growing in value day by day. It's because they're being successful. It may not be at the same price range as Bitcoin Core, but they're in two different camps for two different reasons, two different purposes.
That brings up a good point, actually, that I'd like to bring up for you. And then you have a video that you want to share with everybody, and we can commentate over from Bitcoin.com. But markets are natural. You would say markets are, and in this case, comparing and contrasting Bitcoin Core with Bitcoin Cash and their differences within the market and how it fluctuates and how it holds and how it uses the market flows, right? Markets are natural extensions of human action. So how humans are going to act and interact, there's a difference in how people are going to act when utilizing Bitcoin if they get into the Bitcoin core market compared to those who get into Bitcoin Cash. As you said, most people are going into Bitcoin core to bet on the downfall of the dollar, essentially, right? To hedge their bets into serving a purpose to save themselves financially on the basis that the dollar's dying and Bitcoin is effectively running parallel against inflation. And those who are jumping into Bitcoin Cash, they're more so diving into a more decentralized, a more decentralized infrastructure that is based entirely on the utility of Bitcoin Cash being that of a next generation form of, say, currency, right? So that's praxeology. That's just how human action works. So with that as the root, would you say that there is a teleological viewpoint in this, that people are utilizing the concept of either, say, Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash or fucking Dentacoin if you absolutely wanted to, right? Doesn't matter. They're trying to figure out their niche and their purpose within a certain sector of life. Does that make, would that be any crystal clear, or am I just retarded?
No, I mean, there's no wrong answer because this is a study of confirmation bias. This is a bias for a specific purpose and goal. But it's the difference between reacting and being proactive. I think that's a good way to put it. Is because one's a reaction to decay, and one's a being proactive to fight against decay.
So so maybe
the entropy versus extropy.
Yeah. So the more proactive path, whichever one that would be, will be the one that could potentially rule the day because they're being more proactive, and that could be your I'm going to butcher this beatific vision of what we want to see. Yeah. We want to be able to see the glory of better systems that work in parallel with society to benefit community rather than crash us all down and we just become cogs in a system. Yes, I'm using this as a compare situation with the beatific vision of the glory of God.
I mean, you got to be forward thinking if you're gonna be flexible.
So before we move on to the Bitcoin.com one, let's move away from the utility and the protocol aspect, because I know that most people look at cryptocurrency as a value point system. Number go up, right? So in an economy with monetary systems, dollars, currency, pricing, purchasing of goods, paying of workers, right? What is your aspect? Because Thomas Aquinas attributes to a concept of just price, right? So drawing upon Aquinas and in parallel Aristotle as well, Aquinas viewed markets as natural, but in need of being subjected to justice, right? Like anything, prices should reflect common estimation in a fair market, not exploitation of need or monopoly power. Blockchain's transparency and reduced intermediaries could theoretically support fairer discovery of value, which of course is a less distortion by opaque central actors. However, speculative manias like pump and dump schemes, Trump coin, or wealth concentration in early adopters, holders, raise questions about whether it always reduces distortion or sometimes amplifies vices like greed. So, how do we address a peer-to-peer exchange that still involves informational or power symmetries? I almost said
Well,
asymmetrical asymmetries.
I want to address your point about whales, basically.
Yeah, whales.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
People who hold a large amount of an asset. It's not so much that they're trying to be greedy. It's that by consolidating, a stable point of value and maintaining that position and not just liquidating it, they are providing, legitimacy to an asset because if it's so unstable that nobody's willing to hold on to it, no one is going to. There's no incentive for the future for people to, maintain this legitimacy. People need to have some kind of evidence to say that this is actually worth something, and people are, firmly committed to maintaining, a commitment. Sorry, they're firmly committed.
Thoughts, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm
You have
sorry.
to.
They're firmly committed to show the general population this is worth something, and I'm not gonna just drop it to make a quick buck. If we continue to be motivated to hold on to an asset, it not only provides the stability for the people that are producing it, but the potential for it to increase over time, and for the business to borrow against that stability, if need be, in order to reach new heights.
I thought you had more.
Well, I mean,
So how do we reach
that's why
new heights?
that's why they call it a bearer share. It's because it's supposed to be resilient to stress. If you have the finances in order, and you see that you have a firm commitment from the stockholders or the crypto holders or whoever's holding the asset, you have evidence to say we have a firm commitment for the future, and we are forward looking, and there's no decay here. There's only growth.
Amen to that. And I think with that, should we go into financial freedom? I think that's
Sure.
a good segue right there. So,
Um,
and before we get started, everybody, if you'd like to, if you're watching right now or come back later and watch, and you would like to like and subscribe, please like and subscribe. Please join us, and let's start something. Let's start a conversation, and that's about it. That's all I have to plug. I'm not going to go any hard on this. Let's see what did you have to say before I cut you off?
Just real quick, the reason we're watching a video from Bitcoin.com is because recently their YouTube channel was dropped for absolutely no reason, and this is kind of goes into what we was talking about earlier. Is that there's censorship, and there was a reflection of the censorship with the election of Donald Trump. They said that things have changed, but I know for a fact there are people who have YouTube channels that are not even actively using them, but they have a social media presence that goes against the grain, and they've had their accounts dropped. And Bitcoin.com is not even an American company. It's based in St. Kitts Nevis, because they're obviously against the grain. They're not exactly in favor of the established banking system, the International Monetary Fund and everything. They're trying to trailblaze and provide, you know, the foundation for a different point of view. They are definitely at risk, like I said earlier, of having censorship implemented on them, and that's what happened within like the last week. And we didn't get a chance to talk about World Blockchain Roundtable, but I think this video kind of has potential to kind of flesh out what's been going on behind the scenes in the banking system, and we could learn a lot from it. So, if you're ready, Zach.
And at the same time, it can get you to reflect a little bit on your own telos, your own purpose, and what your meaning of life is, and what is everything, everybody and everything, we all connect in some capacity. Everything is all connected. So take a moment and think and reflect on that while we're listening in and watching this video.
Here we go.
I just got into deeper and deeper, and I realized you cannot miss that. It's impossible to pass it and just to ignore what's going on in the crypto business and online business in general. And finally it drove me that, oh yeah, this is what we got to do. This is the next step.
Thank you, sir, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you as well. I always start with the same question. Can you please tell me your name and what you do, sir?
My name is Robert Tukoli. I live in Hungary, Budapest, in Central Europe, in a small country, only 10 million people. And I'm the CEO of WeChange. With my colleagues and with my partners, we started that company, which is basically a global non-custodial fiat to crypto on-ramp and off-ramp business. And literally, this means that we are trying in practical terms to help people move their money from their bank account to the crypto wallet as fast, as simply, and as cost efficient as possible.
Very, very nice. Yes, very important process. Yeah. We'll get to WeChange in a little bit, but first, I just want to know a little bit about your past. What was the path that you took to get what you're doing today?
Yeah, I used to work for a currency exchange company for 16 years. So I would say the fundamental basis of currency exchange, fiat money to fiat money in physical words, is basically the same what we do now. But let's call it the next evolution of what we are doing right now of currency exchange, which is and it's obviously more innovative, more empowering. There's more technology behind it. But not just the future, I would call it rather present and the future, what we are doing right now with exchange, with WeChange. But the fundamental basis, what I used to do for 16 years, were more or less the same. It was just in a physical world. I used to live in Florida, in the United States, for about 1.5, 2 years. But the major business, the core business, what I used to do with currency exchange was in Europe, mainly in Budapest, Hungary. But I also worked in France, a little bit of Netherlands and Austria. So I would say I have some international background as well.
Hi, I'm Alex, and we've raised a total of $60 million to help brands rank #1 on ChatGPT.
Very, very cool. A Florida man, very nice.
I'm not a Florida man, but I love Florida, of course. Yeah. That's right.
Little joke, yeah. So currency exchange, that's really, really cool. What were could you just tell me what were kind of the biggest pain points with currency exchange businesses?
Regulators, usually, because the physical money, I would call it's on a blacklist. So regulators are trying to push the society to use bank cards, online business, everything, for several reasons. You can have a guess what for. Also, they can monitor us pretty well. They call it security reason, conveniency, and so on, which I believe is true. I believe is true partially, but the real issue was regulatory issues in most countries, everywhere I had to face with the national banks and whoever it was, or the state. Let's say in Florida was the state, federal level as well.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Was there Was it difficult to deal with like counterfeits or anything like that, or was that just a kind of a small issue?
Yeah, I wouldn't say difficult. No, I would not say that. It's minor issue. Yeah.
Okay, and so that it makes a lot of sense why you have like the expertise to then start what you're doing now with WeChange. Just one more question on this: when you got introduced to crypto at some point, was it like an aha moment? Like, oh, was it obvious to you? Like, oh, this is the next step. This is the evolution from like a currency exchange, or did it take some time?
It took me some time personally. I'm not in my 20s. In some way, I was pretty conservative for a while. That I also like cash, not because of my past. There is no connection to that. It's just you see what you have in your hands and what you spend. But later on, that I realized what's going on in this market that I was reading in the news. I just got into it, into deeper and deeper, and I realized this is you cannot miss that. It's impossible to pass it and just to ignore what's going on in the crypto business and online business in general. And finally, it drove me that, oh yeah, this is what we got to do. This is the next step, the future and the present in the same time.
Yeah, you said that the powers that be were kind of pushing people away from crypto. Like, for example, until recently with the current U.S. administration, the U.S. was incredibly antagonistic and I would say was pushing people away from crypto. So have you experienced this as well with cryptocurrencies?
Generally speaking, the answer is yes. On the other hand, the beauty of crypto is it's the freedom and the independency that you have. But it is true that there is a difference between having my money in my bank account and having my money in crypto. There is a gap between these two. And there are differences, of course. So you cannot say the same things having money or fiat currency in your bank account. But we are trying to narrow that gap with WeChange as well. And the reason why they are trying to avoid or to push away crypto and not to be in the mainstream, because they're missing the control. And this is the beauty of what we are doing here. And that's why people like it mostly. That's why we do the non-custodial part of it, which I really want to underline and highlight here. Later on, maybe we'll discuss that part, that you have a freedom. While if you use the mainstream systems, bank system, whatever you have, or even the cash somehow, it's not that cost efficient in some ways, but also it's you have more control on it. And the beauty of that is the independency. And this is why I believe more and more people are getting used to it. And no matter what the regulators and the country leaders are preferring, I would say even on their side, I see a little change. You can talk about the American policy right now since Trump is in position, of course. But I would say it wouldn't depend whether it's Democrat or conservative, whoever is in power, it would be.
Andrew, do you think that it's safe to get into the crypto business in the United States right now?
I think legally speaking, it's a tank of sharks as an American citizen. Explain
that for anybody that wouldn't understand that jargon. So what do you mean?
The United States is very, very much, a society of prestige, and they don't like competition. They will basically see your pants off if they think that you're going to take away their influence.
But Andrew, I thought this was the land of the free, the land of opportunity.
I mean, that's what they say, but just because they say it doesn't mean it's actually true. That's the call to false advertising.
So with the benefit of getting into crypto, getting into blockchain, putting your stakes up, from what he has articulated at this point, is it the ability of one trying to find their significance in this world where we put a little too much on prestige and not enough on the work and the innovation.
I think, you know, in the United States, yeah, but outside of the United States, there are other countries where prestige isn't such a high priority. You know, it's really case by case basis as to what legal jurisdiction that you're in is going to be. Every, you know, system has its flaws. No system is perfect. Every society has
Exactly.
different values. So yeah, I think if you're smart about it, you're going to have a better opportunity to do whatever project that you find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we was talking about on World Blockchain Roundtable on Thursday, you know, in the comments specifically. You know, you're going to have countries like Japan where, you know, if you're going to release something, it's going to be more open-minded because, you know, you can do it more in like a public domain because the legal system is a lot more relaxed there compared to the United States. I mean, they're not so tight-fisted. Like you can see in the United States, you know, if you do something and it's copyrighted, you're in for a lot of trouble compared to Japan, where it's a lot more relaxed as a society because they just know it's just it's part of the general, you know, community. People are just gonna be you know, be doing. It's kind of like, you know, Michael Jackson copyrighted "Happy Birthday," so restaurants couldn't sing "Happy Birthday" to you. In the United States, that some people think that's outrageous, but that's the way the legal system works. In Japan, you wouldn't really be able to get away with something like that.
Well, getting away from legalism, the simple fact of the matter is what's beautiful about crypto and blockchain, if we find our niche in this place, is it's open. So like every jurisdiction, every culture is open to its own distinguished ability of interpretation of how purpose is founded. It's all based in culture. And now, objectively, there are objective truths, sure, but we perceive through a subjective lens. And so, like, say, using the United States as an example, the perception at this moment, especially when it comes to crypto, we are predominantly built on a prestige class idea, the identity of the have and have not. The purpose is you need to be up here, and if you're down here, you're nothing. Whereas another culture and another society and another jurisdiction may be the exact opposite. So work ethic, where does work ethic align? Even in the United States, it differs culturally. Certain parts of America, you will find more rigorous cultures of work ethic where it's matched to your brawn and to your skill and to your know-how and to your work as your worth. And then in other cultures, it's where you haven't really earned anything but what you are worth based on the generational wealth that has been accumulated over the years, the decades, even the centuries that you've inherited. And so people are essentially, you have those who have been born on third base people, and then you have those who have to work. And I think that's where crypto and blockchain kind of frees that notion of purpose and self-worth, because now it's giving you the satisfaction of, I've worked so long, I can now attain this other facet of utility to be able to actually live a design, not perfect, but a better situation in my life, and to achieve more meaningful purpose, because after working for so long and having to strive, now I have my it factor.
In the United States, you got to remember, we're kind of like behind a gilded cage because how we're positioned physically in the world. So that's gonna influence the the attitude of the long term image that we like to project to the world.
We like to project that
you can't touch us.
We like to project to the world that we're entrepreneurial spirits, but really we're just parasites.
Unfortunately,
that's the sad part. Not all Americans, obviously, but to the greater standard of how our culture has perpetuated itself, we have, since coming onto the world stage, we have this personification of being parasitic. We leech onto other cultures, and that's how we have succeeded for so long.
we're a company town that is strip mining the world through inflation.
Pretty much.
Eventually, the mine is gonna run dry.
Already seeing the signs, man. We're already seeing the signs, and that's why it's imperative to try to find alternatives so that we don't allow our telos to be decayed in this decadent state to where we are nothing as individuals, as communities, as a people in general. We have to find another way, or else the collapse is going to be it's already going to be very, very, very strenuous on everybody, the whole world. But as long as we can snake out different alternatives, sneak into those alternatives, utilize those alternatives, we can at least make the collapse, the collision course that we are on en route towards, we can make it bearable. And then we can come out of that collision okay. We're going to have some scrapes and some bruises, but we can come out okay.
It's like trying to land a plane, because if you don't land it right, you're gonna run right into a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get enough distance and have enough room to hit the brakes once you're on the ground.
Yes. Shall we continue?
Sure.
Generally, within 5 to 10 years, will be more accepted in worldwide everywhere. That's my view, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. You briefly touched on it before, but let's go into more detail. What is WeChange? Why should people use it? Who's using it? Give me the pitch, basically.
Well, as I said, we are a global non-custodial fiat crypto on-ramp off-ramp company, which means that within one transaction, and I want to underline the one transaction, you can make a bank transfer and you get your money in your wallet in crypto immediately. The fee is fixed. It's flat, basically, and no other hidden fees. So what you see, that's what you pay. And the reason why we started that, and the beauty of the non-custodial part is that we are not controlling your money. We are not controlling your crypto. You have the keys to your own wallet and you do whatever you want. That's why we are called WeChange, because all we do, we only change. You make the transaction. Nowadays, generally, if you want to buy crypto, what you have to do, let's say I'm a German customer in Germany, I'm using euros as a fiat currency, and I make a transfer to my wallet, then I realize they want to change it to US dollars. So they charge an exchange rate on euro USD to exchange it. Then they say, okay, you should change it. If you are lucky, you transfer it immediately and you can make a crypto exchange. So let's say you buy Bitcoin or Solana, whatever you want. But in some cases, they say you should buy USDT or USDC. They charge you something again, and they charge you again when you buy the crypto finally. So you have at least 3, sometimes 4 steps. And every time you make a change, they charge you something. So we simplify that. When you make your bank transfer, you have a bank fee for sure, because they depend on your bank, how much they're going to charge you. And our fee is 2.5%, which is flat. And no matter how much you change, you're going to charge this, and we are going to charge you that and nothing more. No exchange fees, no other hidden costs, whatever it is. And the non-custodial part, again, I'm sorry for repeating that, you own your own wallet, you have the keys, and you are controlling everything. Because we have seen big players going down, going bankrupt and everything is disappearing. And here you don't have that risk. So you have two benefits. It's the customer use part is very efficient because one transaction. Secondly, the fee is very clear and obvious. And the third one is it's all dependent on you what you are doing, because we are non-custodial. We are not having access to your wallet. We are not holding your money or your crypto.
Yeah, very, very cool. I like that. One detail I don't understand exactly. So if you're a German customer and you have euros, why do you have to change it to USD at the beginning?
Well, not necessarily. It depends on the platform. I don't want to mention names here because I wouldn't be fair with the competitors or the other platforms. But in some cases, okay. But I have to be honest. About a month ago, I found the company and they were advertising when you buy crypto, they charge 0 commission. 0. And I was like, wow, that's quite something. I mean, compared to 2.5% what we charge, that's very impressive. But at the end, you have an exchange rate. So you may not have to change euros to dollars because sometimes euro is accepted. But if you come from a country like my country, Hungarian foreigners who have heard about this currency, apart from me and my citizens here, you can't deal with it. So you have to buy USD or USDT or USDC. So then you lose money again. And it's not like, I wouldn't even say it's unfair to charge something because there is a transactions. Well, we put it together into one. So it's more cost efficient, plus it's faster, easier, and for the customer is beneficial, obviously, and for us as well. So that's the only beauty. Yeah. But I'm not saying that in every case you have to make an exchange to USD and then to USDC or USDT and then to crypto. It depends on the platform, of course, to be fair.
Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Okay, so a lot of platforms say that they make crypto easy, right? But I think this comes often with limiting the user's control or sovereignty or choices. So how do you kind of simplify the onboarding process of new users in particular without compromising like the self-custody that you think is so important?
For the first time in modern history, college students.
Yeah, the issue is what you are referring to is they hold your funds, and we don't do that. So basically, when you come to our website, which is vchange.com, you have to go through a KYC process, which takes 1 or 2 minutes. It depends how long you are dealing with it. So there is an AML process, of course, which is necessary, and we have to do it, and it's very important. But then we are connecting directly to your wallet. So when you make the transaction from your bank account, the money arrives in crypto into your wallet already. So you don't see what's going on behind what I was expressing the several steps with the other platforms generally. And it's more convenient for the customers, obviously, so they don't have to worry what's going on when it's arrived. They might hold it back. It takes sometimes the transactions 1 or 2 days. You just get it there when it comes and you already see what you got in crypto already. And the way back is the same. So we are not touching your money. That's the difference between the average platform, I would say.
Yeah. Is it so I know how the Japanese system works. I'm in Japan. Everyone usually knows that. And bank transfers can kind of be arbitrarily delayed here.
Yes.
Is it the case same case in Europe that happens?
In Europe, probably not that much. It depends from where you are sending. So I would say it also depends on what system you are using in general. So whether it's Swiss system, the SEPA, AHC, whatever. So there are different systems. So this can be delayed. You are right. But the beauty of us actually that we are minimizing the risk on that as basically we are meeting with the customers where they are. So for giving you an example, if you're a UK customers, you don't have to use the SEPA or the SWIFT or whatever because they have their own platform and you are familiar with that. So we go there, you know what you are using. You don't even have to think about it because you make the transfer to what you are used to basically. That's also a different approach, basically, that you don't have to adopt. If you live in Brazil, you don't have to think what a SEPA or a SWIFT means for you, because they have no idea. They have a different system for that. The faster payments, I think, is in UK, if I recall correctly, and you have PIGS in Mexico and all that kind of stuff. So you can use your own system. You don't have to worry, and you are used to that. And that's also a different approach to normally, but regarding your original questions, yes, they might hold it back, but obviously that depends on your provider. So we cannot have effect on this. As you say, in Japan, they may do it. Okay, that's fine. But some things you can obviously not have effect on it. So it's out of our hand, obviously. But as much as possible, we try to be not just in words, but literally in practice, being a user experience pretty cool, that you don't have to accept something which you are not used to yet. So if you make a bank transfer, you know where you are. If you are in Brazil, you can use your own system. You don't have to think about the European system or American, whatever it is. And that's also, I believe, it's a beauty for the customers, because they can rely on what they are used to. In terms of delaying, yeah, that could happen, but it depends on the local system. So this is obviously out of our hand.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I obviously think self-custody is kind of very important. But at the same time, I recognize that it does have some limits for some people. I'm wondering, where do you think self-custody adoption goes from here right now? You know, you have the proliferation of like ETFs and all this kind of stuff, traditional financial players kind of getting into the space like this. So I'm just curious, how do you see self-custody going from here?
I think self-custody and convenience is closing fast, generally speaking. And right now it is, as you are mentioning, there is a mental barrier. Is real, I would say. So I have to accept that and agree with that. But people associate with self-custody with complexity and with seed phrases. But that is wrong. The problem is the user experience. And that's not a fundamental problem. A platform like ours, for instance, make the non-custodial experience feel as simply as logging into a banking application, for instance. And more people would default to it. And I would say that centralized platforms has taken real this, and self-custody is becoming more and more mainstream. And not because users become more technically sophisticated, but probably, I would say, the tools get simpler and faster and more efficient and convenient for the customers. So they don't have to learn more or think about more. We, as a provider, we have to develop and get better and better. And that should be competing with the other platforms. Everybody has to develop and get better on this, even us, obviously. But again, it's not that they are becoming more sophisticated. We have to be better from our side as a provider.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello.
Yeah. No, I that resonates with me a lot. I also think like just we're having this conversation while there's conflict in the Middle East, and hearing about people wanting to move large amounts of value very quickly, and do it in kind of a realistic way. You can't like carry gold bars and things like that. So I mean, like self-custody just becomes so important, I think, from that perspective.
Agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So bank transfers are, I think, one of the most important things that differentiate you from a lot of self-custody wallets. Would you say that that's correct?
Yes. But the bigger problem, the challenge, or the complexity comes when you want to go wider and globally, like we do. So we are stating that you can use our services with a flat fee everywhere the same. And when you have to adopt the local issues, integration and local understanding. And on the other hand, you also mentioned previously that some banks and regulators are still considering crypto business as a risky business. So they are adjusting and adding more and more requirements for the providers, which is not always necessary, but from their point of view, obviously it makes sense. That's how where it gets harder, and that's why it's important what I just mentioned now, that if you are in Brazil, you are using PIX. If you are in Europe, you are using SEPA, and locally you can use your own system, because there you are familiar as a customer, and also the regulator from the other side, you are pretty convenient and satisfied, and also works well. So that's also, I would say, maybe the customer doesn't care so much about it, but how smooth it goes through the transaction, it depends on this as well. So we have to build up this. It doesn't work from one day to another. So we are still building. It doesn't work overnight, but that's very important in this case, of course. That's why we have our partners. We are helping us on the AML issues, and also on the fiat side with another company called Bridge as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I do want to. You're on mute real quick. I do want to comment about something he's been talking about, the regulators, right? I did see probably about a week ago on X. I saw some posts that I didn't get a chance to. I scrolled past the back side. You know how it is at X. You try to go find something that's lost to time.
It's
But I probably could have searched for it, but I just didn't think about that. There has been a hack, I guess you could say, an alternative implementation of the camera system for these Know Your Customer programs, where artificial intelligence can inject a fake video into the stream, and that this could be in line with people who are trying to implement know your customer regulations, where they have a video you with the driver's license and this is me on this date and all this.
Mm-hmm. There is a silver lining to that, though. You could interject with the AI and hack into a streaming system, and then like take this video, for example, and then give you hair. You'd finally have hair.
I can dream.
But that's the fact. I mean, that's what's beautiful about all of this, is you can build community, right? Because it is always based on know your customer, not in the instance of over-regulation, know your customer, but you want to know your customer base. You want to build a community. You want to bring people in to adopt to their standard. Like, you want to build something to where you allow people to come in and use what they're used to, right? And are there trade-offs to some negative effects? Certainly. There's risks in everything that we do in life. But the simple fact of the matter is when you're going into this niche, going into this life, trying to distinguish what is what the purpose of life is, financially, economically, socially, individually, you want to be able to know your community.
There's a difference.
Rebuttals?
There's a divergence between safety and freedom. You can have one, you can have the other. You can't have them both, and eventually there's going to be a correction, because that's something that just doesn't mix well.
Yeah, you have to have safety is on your mind no matter what, because we're creatures. That's why we have fight or flight. But safety doesn't have to be at the forefront. When safety becomes first, we actually tend to forget about safety, because it's up front in our face that we no longer care about it, because we just want to get away with it. It's like, it's right there. It's right there so often that we end up gaining brain fog, like many of us do, and just coast by. We go on autopilot and we just coast by, and then we become more riskier, because the acknowledgement is always up front that we're just whatever. We're just going with the flow. So if safety is in the back of our mind acknowledging it more naturally, then we will always the bells go off when danger ends up occurring. We'll actually realize danger, danger, danger. Oh, maybe I should back out of this. Maybe I should run. Maybe I should fight. Maybe I should do. You get what I'm saying? So maybe I should avoid this situation. But if we're thinking too much on the safety level, we're never going to have the freedom level. And that's the purpose that we're all trying to strive for. We're trying to find that balance between safety and freedom, but we're going in the wrong direction. We're trying to mitigate risk, and yet we're creating more risk. It's funny how human beings are.
It's funny how the law works. There's no universal limitation. There's always going to be a different perspective.
That's the thing. Like there's always going to be a different perspective with the law, and that's why. There's always going to be the anarchy of the chaos, and then there's going to be the anarchy of the law. This is why I don't believe in anarchy, because you're either going to have the tribal, instinct that is fulfilled through the chaos vacuum, because power forms within a vacuum out of the chaos that anarchy brings on an individual level. If we were to live in all anarchy, if you really want that, and then there's anarchy of the law, where you put too much emphasis on legalism. You legalize everything. You put too much on the law, to the fact that you have too many laws and you can't enforce all of those laws, to the point where only those who are abiding by law are those who just want to be left alone and live their life, and they're the ones harmed, because the criminal is going to be in the state of chaos. They're the outlaw. They're going to ignore the law. The regulators, or in this case, the government, the enforcers, are going to ignore the law because they're above the law. And in retrospect, they're not going to have enough manpower or enough energy, time, or even money at this point to inject into enforcing all of the criminality, to the point where it becomes easier to just enforce the little pain in the ass mechanisms of like civil liability. So it's easier for me to pull you over once in a while, go on a speed ticket frenzy to get my quotas up to make more revenue for my agency, than it is for me to actually go patrol the streets and, prevent crime, look for criminals, arrest people that are actually committing crime. And that's where we need to that's the double standard.
That's if you're doing your job effectively the right way, by how they're guided to do it. There was a story that I saw on online today or yesterday, one of the two. A police officer here in Myrtle Beach, where I live, was taking Cash App in order to, not give people tickets.
So he
got arrested. Yeah, he got arrested, but he probably been doing it for a while. Didn't get caught. Who's to say that doesn't happen a whole bunch of other places?
That's the thing.
This is why the law falls apart. It's because there's no universal, right or wrong about how to implement it.
Basically, when it comes to man, there is no law, because we ignore what is the objective identity of what law is. Law is of two things. It's a fulfillment. You cannot have justice or mercy without love, and you cannot have law without loving your neighbor, loving your enemy. Like, you cannot have law without love. And when you take out love, then you're going to have anarchy. Anarchy of the state, anarchy of the power vacuum, the tribe, the individual. what ANCAPs think they want. No, actually, I take that back. What ANCAPs really want there, Andrew? What anarcho-capitalists really want is a society built upon by a government that is made up of privately held cartels of insurance companies. I think I'd rather live under the government we have today. Because we pretty much already have that. Go ahead.
I can't stop you from having that perspective. I mean, that's just one, read of the situation. There's a lot of people who've argued over this, and it's longer than we need to for this episode. So
I'm of the mindset of ordered, what is called ordered liberty. We need to have a civil authority that coincides with a moral objective identity. We need to, and when it all comes down to it, I just said it. In order to have justice, you have to have mercy. And in order to have mercy, you have to be articulate through love. And we don't have that in today's society. We're missing that ingredient, love. And I think that's where blockchain can help us to a certain extent.
Always good. It's a chess piece. There's always going to be two ends, and there's going to be the center.
Mm-hmm.
So both ends are a style of both ends are a style of management, and the center is more neutrality. So let's continue.
So this seems really, 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 really hard going into all these different jurisdictions with all their kind of, I don't know, idiosyncrasies and whatnot, and dealing with maybe less than enthusiastic regulators. Does that pretty much sum it up?
Yes and no. And the reason why I'm not confidently saying yes to your question is, let's say there is a system in Europe which is called MiCA or MiCA, whatever you want to call it. It hasn't been in place for a too long time. So I would say everybody's trying to learn it. The regulators as well. And again, it's the same, because each country and each regulator sometimes adding extra requirements to what it has given already on the documents, which is not necessary. But on the other hand, it makes the market clearer in mid and long term. So customers who are using, those who are having these licenses, they can be assured that they went through a process and they are more secure than being just nowhere. Obviously, from my point of view or our point of view, as we change, we don't want to be centralized. We don't want to be managed by a central bank or any, I don't know, regulatory serve. So we want to be as liberal as possible on the market. But in some ways, it actually helps to keep your business clean, and that helps the market as well. So not everyone does everything, whatever you want. So I would say, obviously, my first answer would be yes, you are right, that sometimes idiocracy comes in. I agree with that. But because crypto is still relatively new, generally speaking, compared to fiat money, it's very, very young. Then in that terms, you can understand these adolescent issues that we are struggling with right now in this case. So I'm more patient with them. Not that I have another options in this case, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. So you brought up MiCA. I also don't know which one way you want to say it. I've asked many people. Yeah. Yeah. First of all, could you just? I always ask this about people who have to deal with MiCA. What are your overall thoughts? Your high level thoughts? Do you think it's good? Is it working well? Are you hoping for changes to come through?
I've been asked these questions a couple of times, and I cannot answer directly whether yet good or not, because it hasn't been in place for a long time. I would say within the next 12, 18 months, 1.5 years, we should get a more clear picture. And also by regulator side, because the way it works, Brussels, which is the head of the European Central Bank, and not the bank, sorry, the European Union, they make a regulation which is called MiCA. And the local regulators, which are the countries, so each individual European country has to put in place. And sometimes, as I was mentioning, they have more requirements that is written in this document, which I think obviously I'm not quite happy with that. But I'm assuming the reason why is that because they also don't know what they are doing so far, because it's so new. So that's why I'm saying it's hard to say it's positive or negative. We'll see how it goes. We have to live with it, whether you like it or not. So I'm trying to be optimistic. It's better for everybody.
Yeah. So one argument that I've heard from a lot of people in crypto, and it's not just crypto. You hear this in Silicon Valley though, is that a lot of this regulation it favors incumbents, right? Your giant companies love regulation because they can hire the army of lawyers and all that kind of stuff, and that it really does just hurt the entrepreneur, the person starting a new business. Do you agree with that? And have you found that crypto regulation basically does the same thing too?
The short answer is yes. If you are a bigger or a giant, it's obviously you have more revenue, more income, so you can hire lawyers and you can deal with it faster, or maybe not necessarily faster, but handle it in a better way. We are a startup, but we built from day one with the compliance at the core, because we know even if we want to, we cannot go further too much without that. So we have 7 years of encrypted, immutable audit records, for instance. We are monitoring the AML part, the Czech National Bank, where we are officially founded the company, Czech Republic oversees us. So it's going to validate these things. Bigger you are, it's better you are, of course. I mean, that's not only in crypto, generally worldwide, you can say that. So I would say in this business it's true as well. And it's favoring them, of course, in some way.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder what the solution is, I guess. I don't know. I mean, because crypto is like a new wrinkle to so many things. So it does need regulation. I guess it just needs like a lighter touch, maybe.
I'm not in a position to say what would be the solution for that. The real beauty of crypto generally is freedom, still so far compared to other businesses or other models, whether it's banking or other economy in the world. It doesn't matter what you are referring to. And this is very unique and it makes it special, in my opinion. And that's what we like in it. That's why we see this is the next generation. It's going to be, no matter whether you like it or not, you have to face with that. And no matter whether you are a regulator or not. But how much they try to control us, I don't know, it depends on what and how the bigger companies or the platforms are going to deal with that and where you can run away. So obviously in that terms, for instance, Europe is probably the worst worldwide, and compared to United States, which is definitely more liberal and favoring the market. But again, as I said, we are very young as a business model generally. No, I'm not talking about we change the crypto itself. So we'll see within, I would say, the next 5-10 years where it's going to. I'm still hoping, and this is my belief, that it will not be centralized as the fiat money, for instance. I really believe in this because that's the future. That's why we like it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I don't know how much you are on Twitter, X.
We are there. Find us, yes.
But you personally, I don't know how much you follow like the current, whatever the current thing is, or the current narratives. Yes. But recently, in the past couple of weeks, there's been maybe past couple of months, there's been a lot of, I feel like, soul searching amongst crypto people, kind of touching on the topic you just raised of, what is crypto now? Has it sold out to TradFi? Have the cypherpunks moved on to other things because of the flood of institutions? You've had people like Haseeb Quresh talk about this. Kyle Samani from Multicoin, he kind of has moved away from Multicoin as well. And I feel like you see a lot of people, looking at this or thinking about this question right now.
Yes, but in my opinion, this is emotionally motivated mostly. If Bitcoin would be 130,000, not 60 plus or close to 70, people may not be thinking about the soul of the crypto business. So if you remember in October, it was 126 or something around this 126K, and now it's 68, 69. It depends where you are, below 70. So actually you lost 50% of your money if you were buying on a high. And I think human beings generally is emotional. And if you are in the crypto business, what you have to learn, it's not like when you have your fiat money or bank account and you get X percentage if the bank is paying you something, and then you are fine. You can make a lot, you can lose a lot, and when you lose a lot, you become more emotional, and that's why they are probably trying to see, oh, where are we now? Is this really the future? Is this what we're going to do? In the last 10 years at least, or even more than 10 years, has proved that it is the future and the present. It's just, it has huge multitudes and ups and downs. And when you get into that business, either you get used to it, or the best is if you are already good at it, to get used to the big changes, ups and downs as well. And I believe that's why you can see the narratives changing and thinking of, oh, is this really what we want, and so on. Because it's been since October, November, so let's say 4 or 5 months, we've been struggling. If you are a crypto holder and you lose money, so you're not happy, which is understandable. But it's the same like stock exchange, right? You may not lose that much on the stock exchange or so quickly like here. But again, this is a different market, different approach, and different attitude and thinking is necessary. And that's why, for instance, the younger generation is easier accepting that, and the older ones, they say, okay, I know my bank, I know my broker, and stuff like that. I would say it's better to mix it, the two, but some people bet only on crypto. So, I mean, it's all up to you. But regarding your concern, I would rather say, that's my personal subjective opinion, it's emotional right now. I would say if the market would be up, probably wouldn't be that emotional, everyone.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
I love your passion. That's awesome. That's great. My last question is can you give me like a spicy take? What parts of the crypto market are you excited about over the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years? Is it Bitcoin adoption? Is it stable coins, tokenized assets? I don't know, consumers piling in, something else?
I would say Bitcoin gets all the headlines all the time. And the tokenized assets are the hot institutional narrative, generally speaking. I would rather be more interested in stable coins in general, because stablecoin is, I think, is the real everyday transformation happens. And that's not a crypto use case. It's a better way, version of money, in my understanding. So personally, I would say stablecoin, but I'm not neglecting the other stuff as well. So whether it's Bitcoin or the other tokenized.
You're on mute.
Andrew, do you agree? Stablecoins? Are stablecoins the way?
I don't think they're the way. I think they're a stopgap measure for people to get.
Did you know the fastest way to scale your business to 7 or 8 figures is not going viral? In fact, you don't even.
Sorry, I had to pause. It just automatically went to the next. Anyways, I think stable coins are a stepping stone for the traditional financial system to modernize to the crypto industry, at least to the point we're at now. By the time they get modernized, crypto is going to be, far and beyond what it's, because of the way that the crypto system is set up. It's open source. It's, there's competition. There's actual projects that are worth a damn, who are doing things and being productive, and
shout out to Joe Ritz and Lee.
Yeah. The projects that are, come out with fresh ideas.
Like one.
Meanwhile,
go on. I'll shout it out in a second.
Just the central banks are just trying to get on the same page.
They're trying
the page
to
that people the page we're on right now.
Yeah, they're trying to utilize where people are going. See, central bankers, the banks, the bureaucrat, they're not stupid. They know where the tendency is leading right now, because the dollar's dying. All right, fiat is dying. Fiat always dies. it only has a limited time. That's why no fiat has ever actually come. They've never been able to extend that life. So they know where to go. They know where economies, where monetary trends are leading. They know that blockchain is the next level, and so they are leading into that. They're co-opting into what the people are effectively co-opting into. So they're matching mano y mano, and good on them. That's how they're supposed to. How are we going to act? How are we going to react and then act and then interact and continue to do that? Because it's an ebb and flow scenario. We can't just fixate on something and stay with it. We have to keep evolving. And so, speaking of one good project that takes over the general aspect of the meme coins. You know how the meme coin frenzy is such a shit show, right? Meme Asylum takes exactly those meme coins outlet as an outlet and reveals it for what it is, and then co-ops it for a silver lining rather than what shit coins end up being anyways, which is a general pump and dump. It's effectively the people allow people to take over the pump and dump for themselves, and then everybody benefits rather than just one sole person that has the scheme. So instead of Dogecoin or Dentacoin, well, I guess not Dentacoin, but you know what I mean. But
right.
Meme Asylum, everybody, check it out.
And not investment advice. We're not invested. At least I'm not invested in Meme Asylum, but it's an interesting project.
It is an interesting project. So yeah, to culminate all of this, though, to find your niche, to find your financial freedom, doesn't necessarily have to be in blockchain. Doesn't have to be in crypto. Your life is your life, and your purpose is your purpose. Can blockchain be a tool that elevates you into discovering your telos, your purpose, the meaning of what this life is? Could it be a tool? Could it be a stepping stone for you to reveal the possibilities in extension to ever flowing possibilities to life? I think so. I think it can be. I think Andrew thinks it can be. Could it be that for you? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not going to say yes, and then I'm not going to say no, because it may not be. I think blockchain is going to take over, and I think it's the next step in the right direction in this world. But when it comes down to it, everybody, your purpose is your purpose, and God has installed that into your heart already. It's up for you to discover it.
I think that's right.
Any last words, Andrew, before I cut your hair?
Take a little off the top.
I'll take a little bit off the face.
Okay. Well, we got
it too.
4 or 5 minutes left in this video. Let's get into it and finish it off. How's that?
We're gonna watch the rest of the video. Man, they're just it's probably plugging and goodbyes.
All right. Well,
watch it. Let's watch it.
All right.
Let's watch it. 5 minutes of plugging and goodbyes. I'm about to go with Tony here and say, shut up.
Or do you think there's is there lots of room for the euro and I don't know, the Hong Kong dollar stable coins and this kind of thing? Or are they just going to be kind of pushed to the side mostly for the dollar stable coins?
It's a very, very good question, in my opinion. What I see, generally speaking, US dollar is losing its power in terms of the word currency. I don't think that you can change US dollar immediately, but I would say as it is losing its power worldwide in economy for certain reasons, which obviously I'm not going into such details. There are wars and taxation wars and stuff like that. There's always the USD behind it. But I think you can add more and more currencies to it. but probably none of them would be so important as the USD it is. So it would be more, let's say, colorful, the market, let's say it like that. But probably USD is going to be the strongest in midterm. In long term, the answer, to be honest, I don't know. It depends whether US dollar can be kept as a world asset, world currency. Then I would say USD is going to stay, but I'm not smart enough to answer that.
Yeah. In Hungary, do you have any sense if the government is, like the central bank, is worried about losing control or losing any kind of power because of stable coins? Because I know, like the Bank of England, right? They released some rules about like how much dollar denominated stable coins you can have, and Lagarde basically said USD stable coins are like a existential threat. I spoke with a gentleman from Hong Kong, and he said that you have to be careful to get what did he call it? Dollar colonized is how he said. He said in stable coins are a way to further dollar colonize nations. So I was wondering if you have any sense how regulators or the government feels in Hungary.
In Hungary, I would say no, but let's be honest, we are a very small country, and I don't think there is a strong effect on us in that terms. But that's expression being USD colonized. It's a truth even today in any part of the world, which is very good for the United States, not necessarily good for the rest of the world. But I understand if the British National or the English National Bank is doing such things. I'm not quite happy to hear that. Because again, they are getting into your freedom. So I want to have the access to decide on my own what I want to do with my money, where I want to do, and how I want to do. That would be my real freedom. And not because I'm in a crypto business, generally speaking, but as a human being, I don't want to be controlled. That's why in some terms I'm still grabbing the cash as well, because I want to get the right to use cash if I want to. So I'm not being controlled by the government all the time. Not that I have anything to hide. It's just the freedom that I personally believe in. But no, the short answer is in Hungary is not that much affected yet. It might come in because if the other central banks are doing, they may copy it. On the other hand, if you listen to the news about Hungary, we are not really copying the others. We have our pretty much independent approach to the world in many terms.
Nice. Very nice.
Which is, it is what it is, but it's a stubborn nation. So yeah, we'll see.
Man, you've given off real like cypherpunk vibes in this interview, sir. I really, really like it. I like your attitude towards things. Thank you so much for this. Yeah, and that was really fun.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for giving me the chance.
Fantastic episode. So what do we summarize from this, Andrew? I'm gonna let you take the floor.
Well, like you said, dollar colonization, as what I was talking about earlier, is people want assurance that something's going to be stable and consistent, and stable coins are a mechanism for them to covertly implement that stability. Because why would you use your native currency when internationally everyone uses US dollar? And if the US dollar is so easily implemented through stable coins, how do you even justify having a state at all? Why can't it be territory of the United States for like everyone else? That's what the banks are trying to do.
I mean, what's the point, right? What is the point? I mean, what is the point of centralizing any type of financial incentive? What is the point in trying to centralize any form of protocol? What is the point of centralizing any form of innovation? What is the point of centralizing human ingenuity? What is the point of centralizing of human work ethic? The general, simple explanation to that, the answer is by centralizing anything, by creating expanded overzealous, like overly expressed and excessive centralized authority, it is control. It all comes down to control mechanisms. We're always controlling. We as human beings are trying to control ourselves in general, when in reality, we should just surrender to the mechanisms that we have no control over. We really don't have a control over markets. We can work within the market, but the market is natural. The market is human action flourishing. It's interaction, it's exchange. Production comes, labor comes. I mean, transaction comes, value comes. The value is in the action. And when we try to control human action, we lose the very essence to what is human purpose. And that is, simply put, to strive and survive and to find comfort in our situations today.
Comfort is a difficult thing to come by sometimes. We shouldn't try to limit it.
We shouldn't have to limit it. Comfort is comfort, but you know what? To have a state of rest after working so hard and finally in striving for that comfort, to reach that Sabbath, to reach Shabbat, rest, completeness. Number 7, completeness in the Hebrew numerology. To reach completeness is satisfying. It just takes work. 6 days worth of work, I guess, is if you want to think about it that way. And then on the 7th, you rest. And that's the fulfillment, is getting to that comfort to where you can finally rest. You can finally be at peace. And that's where we've lost our edge. We don't live in a society that's at rest. We think that we have to go. And I think that's where blockchain and post-labor economics, because that's coming, especially with how AI is on the rise and how fast and furious it's coming. That's what we need to. We need to start coming down into the moment, not living for the moment, but coming grounded in the moment, experiencing the moment, and then taking that moment and expressing it further into the next moment. And then we can finally be in completeness, into that state of rest. We have found our purpose.
We found neutrality.
Neutrality, yeah, exactly. We have found the neutral point of cohesiveness. Anything else?
Good idea.
Anything else you'd like to end on there, Andrew?
Just, it's an admirable goal, and we should always strive to improve.
We should. And tell us how we can improve. Drop a like, drop a sub, ring that bell. Bring up the icon there, Andrew. Yeah. Ring that bell if you want some more. And tell us how we can improve. Give us something that we can talk about. Drop a comment. If you really want to express your support, you can become a sponsor. Down there scrolling, you can do it directly, or you can go into underneath my name right there is the link. You can go to our Patreon, where we want to try to build a community away from YouTube, not for the podcast itself, but to expand beyond it and give people the ability to be, a shareholder, so they have a stake in it and they can dictate what they want us to talk about. Because that's one of the perks that we want to give you if you come and support us for a little less than like $5 a month. That's less than a Starbucks coffee anymore. How much is Starbucks now? Probably like $15, Andrew. for a small, or whatever they call small, not even a venti. But you can come over there for like $5 a month. You can help support us, become a sponsor, become a stakeholder effectively, become a shareholder on our board of directors. You're a board of director, because one of the perks is we want to hear from you. The ones who are the shareholders are the ones who are going to be able to truly, not to say that you can't leave a comment. We will probably read that and talk about that too, but you'll be first come, first serve if you come and become a sponsor and give us your suggestions for what you want to hear from us, and what do you want us to talk about. So with that, join us every Thursday at World Blockchain Roundtable, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 10 a.m. Central on Thursdays, live on YouTube. Dragon Chain, The Legacy Right, Litecoin Lisa, sometimes Satoshi Sean. That's where it's going to be aired on. Den.social. And join us next Wednesday, where we are going to be back at our regular schedule, 5 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, for The Legacy Right, Silver Linings. Other than that, Andrew, take it away. I'm done plugging.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Peace.
Peace, everybody. God bless all of you. And I love y'all.
Thanks for watching.
Find your rest.
Bitcoin, baby.
Hey, yeah, this is Bitcoin. I'm back. The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this Bitcoin, baby. I'm back in this bitch. Flossing fast cars and rolling with my clique. The king of the rap shit, the real OG. Whack ass rappers got nothing on me. Bought another Lambo, 3 hoes inside it, 10 hoes in line, ready to ride it. It's Bitcoin, bitch. Keep the track bumping. Really on the plug. I got pies in the oven. 80 years old, and your baby mama fond of me. All she wanna do is smoke my broccoli. Private jets from Rome to Ibiza. Lisa, Jenny, Julie, and Maria. Every day I gotta give thanks. I got Bitcoins in the bank. Bitcoin, baby. I'm back in this bitch.
Bitcoin, baby. Oh.
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Bitcoin, baby.
The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this bitch. Axe your grandmother. Verse 2, coming with the gin and the juice. Call me a dragon. Spit flame in the boot. I'm hot, like a thermos full of coffee. So hot, can't get the hose off me. It's true. I got the weed card and shit. I'm smoking like a motherfucking chimney, kid. Bitches love me. My shit's never whack. Tell these motherfuckers Bitcoin's back.
Bitcoin, baby.
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Hot like hot coffee. Oh.
Axe your grandmother.
Surprise, motherfucker.
The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this bitch. Get your hands in the air. Put your hands on the car. Put your 2 hands on the rock. Put your 2 hands on the rock.
Bitcoin, baby.